Good morning, everybody. I'm in the kitchen and I'm getting ready to make some biscuits for my grandkids coming up to visit this morning. And a lot of people have asked about the 2-ingredient biscuits, and my original video got hacked and stolen, so I thought, well, I'll make it again today, and maybe I'll make this a little bit plainer and can show you all some just things questions that people had that maybe this will help. We're using 2 ingredients, no more. If I add anything to it, then you're adding more ingredients. All we're going to use is 2 cups of self-rising flour. That means it already has the rising agents in it. It already has the baking powder in it. This is self-rising. And we're going to use 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. It's not half and half. It's not buttermilk. It's whipping cream. Now, people have asked me, can I use buttermilk, full-fat buttermilk? I've never tried that. I don't know. I don't know if it would work or not. It might not. But I know that these 2 do work. And when you make these, you want your dough to be kind of stiff. Not hard as a rock, but you want it stiff. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And you're going to need some flour out on a board, a cutting board or something, a mat that you're going to use to cut your biscuits out on. Used to, I always choke my biscuits out. I don't know if you, probably old people know what I'm talking about. When I made biscuits the old-fashioned way, I would choke my biscuits out, roll it around in my hand, pat it down, and put it in the pan. And I've got my pan ready over here, and I put about 2 tablespoons of oil in this and rubbed it all around. You want your pan greased. You don't want to put it in a dry pan. So I'm going to set this right here. And I'm going to put my 2 cups of self-rising flour. Self-rising flour. And I use White Lily. That's my favorite flour. That's the one I've used for about 40 years. So if you want good biscuits, get White Lily. We're going to put this in here. Now, when you decide on the thickness of your biscuit, that's going to decide how tall the biscuit will get. If you want a flat, crunchy biscuit, you need to cut them out thinner. If you want a thick, fluffy biscuit, you need to cut them out thicker. So, and plus, the kneading, the rolling the dough over back and forth and pressing it down, that's going to determine how many layers there are to your biscuits. So let me get a spoon. I'm going to take a spoon to, well, shoot. I'm going to stir it up with a spoon a little bit. And then when it gets stirred up pretty good, then I'll take my hand and finish doing it. So we're going to put in the heavy whipping cream. And there's another thing that you all need to realize. If you put flour, you can put 3 cups of flour in here. If you want a lot of biscuits, just put the heavy whipping cream in till it gets like the consistency of dough. It doesn't really need a recipe. But this is 2 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. That will make biscuits. But if you want more than that, you're going to have to double it. But once you develop that cooking sense about how much flour and how much liquid to put in it, you'll get to where you can see that it's got enough. Now I'm getting this stirred up a little bit. But you can tell that's still too dry. You're going to have to add more to it. This is what I'm talking about, the cooking sense. I know that because I know how much is in here. But it's just a matter of learning to get these biscuits. You want the dough to be where you can kind of manipulate it. You don't want it sticky dough, but you don't want it dry dough. Now, once it gets to looking about like this, then I'm going to take my hand. And yes, my hands are clean. I just washed them. And I've got some flour right here so I can put a little on my board when I need to, or on my hands in this. Sometimes I sprinkle a little on the top of this because it just helps me be able to get my hands under the dough. I'm trying to get it all mixed together here before I take it out of the pan. Because it will stick to your fingers a little bit. I've kind of got a dough ball there. My granny used to always skim the biscuit dough off her fingers. Now, well, better. If I can get that, let me rinse my hands off just a second. This is just stuff you have to do. And I don't stop my videos to do it. And that was my dryer, just went off, in case you're wondering.
And her maid is going to do her laundry.
I don't have a maid. Somebody else lives in this house besides me. Now, we're going to get just a little bit more out here and put on that where I can get a hold of it. Now, we're going to put it right like that. I got just a little bit in the bottom of my pan here, so I'm going to get that out. Now, if you look, I'm going to do it right like this. I'm going to pick up some of that flour on the bottom of it, and I'm going to press this out. Then I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to fold it over again and push it down. Then I'm going to fold it over again. This is how I'm developing the layers, okay, to my biscuits. But I don't want to do this too much because if you do, your biscuits are going to be tough. But I'll turn it about probably 6 or 7 times because I can tell when the dough is getting ready. Now, I'm going to turn it over right like that. And I'm going to press it out with my hand. Flatten it all the way out. This morning I'm going to make some thinner biscuits. I'm not going to make them real thick. Because if you want thin, crunchy biscuits, you make thinner biscuits. And you can roll this out with a rolling pin if you want to. Really doesn't make any difference. And you should be preheating your oven on about 415 to 425. They're going to cook fine on any of it. You're going to cook them about 12 minutes or till they're done. And if you have an oven that you have to put them on broil to brown them, you have to put them on broil to brown them. Okay, now let me get my biscuit cutter. Mine's kind of got a little lopsided on me here. Okay, now, here's one biscuit. About like that. And you can see with the bend in my finger, it's about half my finger's bend. Maybe a little bit more. And you don't want to put them close together. You don't want them to touch in the biscuit pan. You want to leave room between them so they can cook better. This middle one is probably going to be a little bit thicker. Yeah. You can see how pretty good sized biscuits. Now, I'm not going to throw this away. You can just take this back up, mash it back in a ball again, take it your hands, squeeze it back into a ball. Then put a little bit more flour back on your mat and just press it back down again. You don't have to throw that away. That's not hurt. And I can get about 2 more biscuits out of this. You get that over there. I've got mine kind of a little close together in my pan. I'm not going to try to make another one because this will be plenty. So we've got 3, 6, 7, 8 big biscuits. Now I'm going to bake these for about 12 minutes. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to bake them exactly 12 minutes. But basically that's what I'll bake. I'll come back in a minute and show you what the biscuits look like. And I'm going to get my hands cleaned up. There are the biscuits.
60.
What is 14 times 3?
And I told Daddy I'm bringing these every